Hey cats, it's Ed, Compare the Midsole Bud here. Today an in-depth comparison of the Puma Deviate Nitro 2 up against the rest. I'm matching this one up against some Nike offerings, a big cat and some fan favourites too. Trying to figure out which one is best for you to pick up and why. Let's get to it. Thanks for joining me on the channel, people. It is always appreciated. If you've hit me up with a super thanks recently, that is appreciated too. It helps the shoes to keep on rolling in at a nice steady speed. Help the channel to continue to grow by clicking that subscribe button, but also tinkle the bell for notifications when I launch the new videos for you. Also give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. Dankeschön. Today an in-depth comparison of several models up against the Puma Deviate Nitro 2. Recently picked this one up. It's one hell of a shoe. Does anything else match up to it? How do some of the other models hold up? First up against the plate-equipped Nike Zoom Fly 5. Now, very different setup here in the Nike shoe. It's quite a rigid offering from the swoosh. There's a vastly more dense combination of foams here than we get in the Deviate Nitro 2. I found the Zoom Fly 5 to be a lot more controlling in terms of my foot stride. Going from the heel through to the forefoot, it really does command what you're doing. Wants you to run in a very specific way, and I didn't get on all that well with the increased weight here. It's about 1.5 ounces heavier than the Deviate Nitro 2, and that is quite obvious when you get the shoes on foot. Why Nike have persisted with this extra foam up and around the back of the foot, I will never know. There's quite a bit more foam here than in the Deviate Nitro 2 by about 4mm in the heel and both in the mid to forefoot. It's that bit higher and it feels like that too, though there isn't really that much of an advantage to it. Quite present on foot, though it did break in after a while. It's not really one I've been reaching for with any real excitement, I suppose, after my initial review. It's okay at pace, but there's many a lighter, more nimble shoe that does the same thing, especially for the relatively high retail price of this one. A vastly better upper here in the Puma Deviate Nitro 2. More traditional fit, and the lacing system is by far improved over the Zoom Fly 5. For everyday use, I just find this one a little bit more flexible. It's certainly more cushioned as well, despite the fact that we got Zoom X foam in the Zoom Fly 5. The virgin foams here in the heel and the mid to forefoot are vastly superior. Better materials and design, and in practically every aspect it beats the Zoom Fly 5. Absolute winner. Just don't really know what they were going for here. There's so much excess foam here that just doesn't really seem to add anything to your run. Next up, the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. Absolutely a closer match here, though the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3 has a significant weight advantage over the Puma. I think it's actually about an ounce lighter, and you do feel it on foot. I think that's probably down to less rubber on the outsole of the Speed 3. Probably makes the weight difference up in favour of the Saucony. Though I've got to say, in wintry conditions that we have now, the Speed 3 isn't one that I'm instantly grabbing for. The traction is improved from version 1 and 2, though it's still not a master. The Puma here has quite the advantage with those quite deep lugs. In fact, there's some really good depth to some of the protrusions here on the Puma. I think you'd probably take on almost any surface with this setup. Tell me, which would you rather have on foot? I think the more fragile foam found in the Endorphin Pro and Speed is more durable than its Nike counterpart, though I find the Puma Nitro Elite foam that we've got in the Deviate Nitro superior again. In terms of abrasion resistance and longevity, I think it's one of the best, up there with Light Strike Pro. It simply doesn't know when to give up and keeps and hangs on to its impressive characteristics long after the others have lost them. The mixture here in the Deviate Nitro 2 between the heel and the forefoot is just fantastic. Slightly firmer, very responsive and bouncy, almost rebound-like foam in the heel, kind of stabilizes your foot strike as it lands onto the ground, and then the Nitro Elite foam in the mid to forefoot allows you to aggressively press into the shoe. You get a really nice toe-off sensation from it. Great across the paces, and although it's a little bit heavier than the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3, it's got a little more structure due to the better fitting upper, and I think the plate placement and shape are just a little bit better. This one's often found quite discounted now as well. People have been sleeping on it a little bit, but if I had to have one, I'd definitely pick the Puma Deviate Nitro 2. When it comes to race shoes, like we have here, the Fast R Nitro Elite, we often see a reduction in the heel width. That's exactly what we've got here in this shoe. Again, Puma have mixed up the foams in this model, where we've got an EVA in the heel, which is a little bit firmer again, and then the Nitro Elite stuff in the mid to forefoot. A very characterful, aggressive shoe, this one, and there is certainly some DNA of this shoe in the Puma Deviate Nitro 2. Though this time, the plate that we find in the Fast R Nitro is full carbon. It's a composite model here in the Deviate Nitro 2. Puma grip really is worth its weight in rubber in the wintry months, and I did really enjoy the super flexible upper that we've got here on the Fast R Nitro Elite, matched by only a few this year that I've tested out. You've got a huge price difference here between this shoe and the Deviate Nitro 2. I think that's going to deter a few, but there is a 40-gram weight difference in favour of the Fast R Nitro Elite. For me, it's very much a training and a racing shoe here. I think one of the big differences is actually the weight-relieved rubber here. They've only got it where it's really needed, and it's certainly cut back here quite a lot in the heel. Both shoes really feel somewhat up for it, I guess. The squasher of the Nitro Elite is very exciting and exhilarating to run in, though certainly not alien when you're operating at slower, steadier paces. Although the Puma is set up as like a training shoe, I feel you could easily run a half or full marathon. Yes, it's not the lightest shoe out there, but does that really matter? I think you've got a huge amount of cushion and comfort here in this shoe. The Fast R Nitro Elite is supposed to be the marathon shoe, like the flagship model, though I feel it's actually best at more aggressive 5 or 10k distances, maybe even the half marathon as well. I think if I had to run a full marathon in one of the shoes, I'd probably pick this one. More cushioned, and the foam's a little bit more consistent from the heel to the toe. The Fast R Nitro Elite wants to keep you up on your forefoot as much as possible. I think that's actually intended by that much narrower heel EVA slab at the back of the shoe. As such, I feel there's space for both of these shoes in a rotation, especially if you like that Puma upper profile. So no winner here between the Fast R Nitro Elite and the Puma Deviate Nitro 2. Sticking with the plated offerings, the last one up here is the Floatride Energy X from Reebok. This shoe again has a combo of foams just like the Deviate Nitro 2. The majority of it here is the Floatride material, then there's some Floatride Plus just underneath the part plate that we've got here in the mid to forefoot, just under here. Certainly a plusher upper than most other models in the Energy X. As such, I feel there's quite a bit in common actually between these two shoes. The Reebok, perhaps with the slightly firmer material here, is ideal at those steady paces. I'm not sure it's a shoe that you pull out to do very fast reps. A steady cruiser, and it doesn't perhaps pick up the pace as well as the Puma Deviate Nitro 2 would. It hasn't quite got the same brilliant grip as well as we find on the outsole of the Puma. There's a much flatter application of rubber here, and a somewhat weight-relieved midsole section here. Quite a lot of brands are carving out sections of the midsole, seemingly to try and lower the weight of the shoe. The Puma again has a slightly better upper fit and lockdown. Centralized padded section of the tongue there really does work. I think the Puma's just like a little bit more conventional, I suppose, and I think the less generous upper materials make for a more glove-like fit. If you're after the extra toe box width and a more trainer-like fit, I suppose the Reebok could be right up your street. It offers a similar weight to the Puma, but sadly doesn't have the versatility of that shoe. I think it would be ideal sort of for steady paced or longer efforts, whereas the Puma Deviate Nitro 2 is just a little bit more versatile. I feel you could wear it on more days of your week. Though often discounted, the Energy X can be had for well under £100 sometimes if you keep your eye open, though I think the Puma again just has a little bit more value, certainly on discount. Just a shoe you don't need to reserve for specific sessions. I think in terms of price, potential durability, outsole traction and underfoot feel, and the upper fit, there's few other shoes to match this model right now in my humble opinion. What's your take on this shoe, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on it down in the comments. If there's more models that you want me to compare the Puma Deviate Nitro 2 in the future, let me know that too. A quick musical interlude for you. Sticking with the Christmas theme, because it's coming. It's gotta be the very sad and melancholy Pretty Paper from Roy Orbison. Some beautiful soaring strings on this one. You can almost imagine people walking around this kind of city, around the shops and things, the light shining, some snow falling, and this lonesome figure kind of wandering around. I mean, the lyrics are one of the most unseasonal ever, I suppose, but I think Roy was trying to put across a message to everybody. Certainly this time of year, you're hoping for things, aren't you? But some people are just hoping for anything. Just a bit of goodwill and a smile. You know, should you stop? Better not. Much too busy. We've all been like that, haven't we? Too many things to do. Got to get a Christmas card for Aunt Maud. Make sure you've got Beast stocking. So just remember, if you spot somebody out there who's looking pretty cold, see what you can do. Maybe get them a drink, a coffee, anything. Roy Orbison, Pretty Paper. Time for me to rock and roll out of here. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications. Give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with your running buddies. My name's Eddbud, and I'll be seeing you